it going? Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I'm Renee and I read a lot, and today I'm going over all of the books that I have read in October thus far to date being the 21st, the 21 of October. October is the month that we currently reside in, so buckle up, ladies, men, and my non-binary friends. We've got a few books to get through today. Now, the true supporters of this channel will note that normally I like to go over books that I have read every week that I've read them. Normally it could be between like 4 to 7 books a week, right? Because I'm crazy. But I broke my computer and I just recently went over all of the August and September books, just like literally the name of the book and the star rating. So now I'm gonna, give you the books that I've read thus far in October so that I can get back on like a once a week kind of thing, so that I can talk to you about them more in depth, because otherwise I'm going to be here for like literally 2 hours, and I do have other stuff to do that isn't sitting on my floor talking to a camera. So unfortunately I do have to kind of wrap it up just like a little bit, but I can go over the ones that I've read in October so far just like in a little bit more detail, but I'm going to try not to be too much. I'm going to try to keep it reasonable. I'm going to try not to just talk for 12 million hours, but if you know me, you know that is not an easy task. I'm a talkative Tanya. I don't know. I just made that up, but I'm so sorry. Let me see how many books I have and then we'll get into it. Okay, thus far in October, I've read 14 books. So the summaries are going to have to be like medium short, but that's okay. We can do this. I believe in us. It's also like across 4 different pages and journals and printouts, so I'm a little bit scatterbrained, but you guys won't notice that because the power of editing makes it seem like I am just eloquent and concise. That's it. Those are the only 2 adjectives I can think of. Okay, so the first book that I've read in October is a sequel to a book that I read in September. So I kind of have to discuss both. So you're getting kind of a bonus book here, a little bit of a bonus book, which is fitting because this was like a bonus episode, right? So the book itself is Pucked by Helena Hunting. And then this is like the bonus outtakes or whatever of it that like she publishes on her website, which a lot of authors do. I didn't realize that she had one until I was putting it into Goodreads, and I was like, okay, I'll read this. Neither here nor there. Point is, I rated the holiday outtake 2 stars. I rated Pucked itself 3 stars. So it starts with this girl, Violet. She's a stepbrother. Her stepbrother is on a hockey team, a professional hockey team. And in her estimation, all hockey players are dumb, douche, like just your typical jock stereotype, right? And so she's forced to hang out with them, and she meets the captain of the hockey team, Alex. And Alex knows literature and seems to be well read and well spoken, and she's like, oh, maybe all hockey players aren't as dumb jock brains as I thought, so maybe I should give him a chance. And that's it. That's literally the whole plot. That's the whole plot. Is there's no plot outside of that. It's just they meet, and do they or don't they. But it's a romance novel, so I feel like you can answer that question for yourself as well as I can for you. But the real romance novels are the pages that we read along the way, right? It's not about the happily ever after. It's about the journey we take to get there. And it reads a little bit cringier than the books that I typically love. Like I will devour a romance book that you're like, wow, this is set up in a way that makes like a alien romance with forced marriages or whatever. I want it. What I'm trying to say is that I'm no stranger to cringy romance, right? Like I've been there, I love it. I will eat it up if given the opportunity. However, there's only so many times that I can read the words beaver and snuffy to describe private parts before my brain just starts to rot and fall out of my ears onto the floor, where I have to mop it up later because it is really difficult. Maybe once or twice, sure, I can give you that one, but over and over and over again, like I'm pretty sure if you counted, it would be like at least maybe 50, 100. It was so bad that's what I wrote at the beginning of my review, right? Also, there was like a lot of weird slut shaming. Like Violet herself engages in a lot of these actions, and she's like, but the other girls who do that, they are sluts, and I'm not a puck bunny slut, whatever. I'm not a hockey romance aficionado. I'm not good at the terms. Sue me. But she's like, I'm not a slut like they are, but then engages in the exact same stuff. So, okay. Interesting concept, not great execution. And so I gave that one 3 stars, right? Because I did end up, like, I still liked it. I read it and I liked it. The holiday bonus outtake that came at the end was way, way, way worse. It was so much cringier. I couldn't. It's like I get it. If that's what your audience likes and that's what you like, go off, sis. I'm not here to stand in your way. Me personally, I couldn't do it. I had like secondhand, like third-hand cringe for the characters. So I said, you know what? I think I'm going to be done with this series. I think I have reached my limit on where I am, and if everybody else likes it, good for them. I am not trying to rain on your parade, step on your toes. You should like it, and you should continue reading it. And I am going to move on to other books for now. Thank you. The next book I read was Clytemnestra by Costanza Casari. I loved this. Loved this. 5 big, glaring, bright, shining stars for this book. I will eat up a Greek retelling. If Greek retellings have fans, I am one of them. If Greek retellings have one fan, it is me. If Greek retellings have no fans, I am dead. Like, I am so passionate about them. And, you know, like Madeline Miller, Circe, Song of Achilles. Love that shit. I cannot get enough. I lately have not been reading a lot of good Greek retellings. Haven't been in it. Clytemnestra, this bitch, she solved it. The whole time I was reading it, I could not put it down. I was addicted. It was so good. It was the best one I've read since Circe, and I noted that. I stand by that. It's Clytemnestra's story, right? Kind of self-explanatory with the title. And for those of you who don't know, for those of you who aren't deeply invested in Greek mythology, because you guys probably have social lives and things that you like to do that involve other people, Clytemnestra was the wife of Agamemnon. Agamemnon being the king of Mycenae, and whenever the whole Trojan War was happening, he was kind of the head honcho, right, that led them all. Pretty big player in Greek mythology in the Trojan War, I would say. She's also the sister to Helen, who also is a bit of a big player in the Trojan War, I would say. Actually, she's pretty minor in the war itself, but she's big in the reasons for the war existing. Princess of Sparta, whole thing. She's a very, in my opinion, extremely tragic character, which I think the Greeks were really good at, right? But to be dead honest, I don't know much about her except for that, she was the queen of Mycenae. And then, I don't know how much is like spoilers to go over. I don't know if I can necessarily spoil the Trojan War. That doesn't seem like a real thing, or like what happens after the Trojan War. I think that the beauty in a Greek retelling is not the end of the story, but more so how we get there. Same as a romance. Like, there's not going to be twists and turns. You know how the story ends. But it was beautiful. It tells her whole life, growing up in Sparta, moving to Mycenae. The whole thing, absolutely heart-wrenching, beautiful. 12 out of 10 would recommend. I think that made me feel. It made me feel. All I want really is to feel. And that book made me feel. So 5 stars. This is not going as short as I wanted. Then I read Counting the Cost by Jill Ducker. I gave this one 5 stars too. So this one is probably pretty niche, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if when you guys were growing up, you used to watch like an unhealthy amount of reality TV because your parents didn't control your TV time or your internet time. So I was really fascinated by the idea. Like, I grew up right in this perfect spot where on TV, on TLC, I want to say, which is the Learning Channel, allegedly, but kind of more like the exploitation channel, if I'm being dead honest with you. There was a show, right? It was like 17 kids and counting, 18 kids and counting, 19 kids and counting, right? It was about like this evangelical Christian family that had a gajillion kids, like literally 19 children. And they wore really interesting, like long denim skirts and like long dresses, and the girls couldn't wear pants, and they played by really traditional gender roles. And so it was interesting to watch, like, how do you guys afford this? How do you cook for all these people? How do you raise all these children? How, like, what is going on here, right? And maybe as an adult, I would appreciate the finer senses of that thing more. But as a kid, I was really just like, a whole bunch of stuff has happened with that family that is far beyond the scope of this video. And I don't understand it well enough to like even go into it. But Jill, one of the older girls, kind of wrote a bit of an expose, a bit of a, I wouldn't say like a tell-all, but I would say a tell-some. Haha, I can't believe I didn't make that joke real time, but at least now it's in the video. At least like a memoir that definitely exposes stuff. So I was like, I watched the show as a kid, like kind of a lot. I don't want to say religiously because I feel like that has other connotations when I'm talking about a book like this, but I wanted to read and see like what she went through, you know, behind the scenes of these really exploitative reality TV shows. It sounds bad. It sounds really bad to live behind that camera. And especially when you're a kid and you can't really consent to it. And it doesn't seem like she saw like really anything from being on that TV show. Like she didn't get a huge monetary payout or like leg up in life as an adult. She just worked her ass off as a kid and then that's it. Like that was her childhood. That sucks. But I mean, just as a summary, like it is about her memoir of her time, kind of like as a little child, but mostly on TV and afterwards. Now she's married and she has kids of her own and she's kind of stepped away from a lot of like her family's really, really, really aggressive, obsessive teachings. And obviously there's like still a lot of work to go, right? Like I don't think that where she and her husband stand politically or anything like that is perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I cannot imagine what it would be like to grow up in that kind of environment and cult. I think that any amount of deconstructing and like stepping back is progress. And I was proud to read of how far she seemed to come in the book, like even to the point of like using birth control, which is like a huge no-no, but it was good for her. And like, that's huge, right? And it was really addicting and a while to read and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I was proud. Obviously there's more work to be done, but where she's at now is like a huge improvement. So I really enjoyed it. The next book I read is The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling. And this one obviously has like very magical, witchy vibes, right? If you like just look at the cover alone. I'll try and put in a picture of it here. I'm still trying to figure out perfectly my new editing software, but I can figure it out, I'm sure. I'm an adult. I'm pretty capable of things. So I gave this one 4 stars. I thought it was cute. It's, you know, it's the second in the series, the X-Hex series. I didn't read the XX. I picked this one up at an airport in Dubai because the only place that I can get English books is airports. Because that's where people sell English books. They don't sell English books at stores in southern Italy for some reason. So we were in the airport in Dubai and we had a layover and I saw bookstores and I was like, I'm gonna go way overpay for some books just so I can have some English physical books again. Yeah, so that's I just saw this, the cover was cute and I judged the book by its cover and I bought it. So I didn't know it's the second in the series, but you don't really necessarily have to have read the first one because like a lot of romance books are in series like that, you know, but they're kind of all standalones, or you can read it as a series for like the other side characters. I just read this one. It was fine. It was 4 stars. So Gwen and her family, their magic now runs this town in small town Georgia. And Wells, Llewellyn, he's Welsh and his family used to run the magic. And so Wells's dad is really mad and sends Wells to Georgia to like run interference or whatever. And they argue and they've got all this tension and whatever. They're in for a ride, obviously, because she owns a magic shop and he decides to also open up a magic shop, but with completely different vibes and whatever. I don't know. It's cute. It's witchy and it's cute. And it's like really cute for October, I think, or like in general fall purposes, because it takes place in October in small town Georgia, witches, cauldrons, spells, all this stuff is like really cute, right? I loved the witchy vibes. I loved both of the 2 leads. I thought that they played off of each other really well. I liked the banter. I thought it was really cute overall. The plot was like maybe a bit thin, but I can overlook a thin plot for a good romance. So it was 4 stars. It wasn't like the best book that I've ever read by any stretch of the imagination. And I don't necessarily know if I like recommend it outside of October. Like I don't think it's so, yeah, you should go buy it and read it whenever because it's that good. No, I think if you want to read like a spooky, witchy romance for October and curl up with a cup of tea and the book, then this is the vibe that you're going for, right? Right. The next book I read, The Hotel at Nantucket, Ellen Hildebrand. I gave this one 4 stars. I don't necessarily know why I chose to read this like in October, in fall, but I did. That is such is life. All of our books like take place on Nantucket in the summer, and I think they're like really designed to be like summer beach reads, but I've never let that stop me. This mystery business tycoon, Xavier Darling, he buys this old haunted hotel on Nantucket to like renovate it into like a premier vacation destination spot. Nobody really knows why, but he does. He hires recently single Lisbeth to be the manager, and she hires a bunch of other really interesting cast of characters, and they've obviously all got their own thing going on that's brought them to working there this summer and that they're dealing with and that they have to like figure out during their summer working for the Hotel Nantucket. All the while, they're trying to provide like exemplary service because there's this hotel reviewer who has never given out her perfect 5 key rating, because she does keys instead of stars, to any hotel. And that's like Xavier's like, you will get the 5 key rating, Lisbeth, or else. So that's what they're doing, right? They've all got their personal things, and they're also trying to get this 5 key rating. And there's even like the hotel is kind of a character. There's like a ghost who's a really interesting character. So it was really cute overall. Like, it was actually really cute. And the end gave me like severe goosebumps. I have a really big problem. This is like a big overarching thing though with all of Ellen Hilderbrand's books. I don't love how she writes younger characters. I don't think it's accurate. I don't necessarily enjoy being portrayed that way because like obviously she's got a lot of characters that come from all ages. And so I can't speak to anything else, but it's been a trend in her books that I don't necessarily think that she knows how young people interact. And like, to be fair, maybe I don't either, but like at least the characters in their 20s, I'm like, that's not, it just kind of takes me out of it, you know, and I'm like, that's not, we wouldn't Snapchat each other to make plans. Nobody in my entire life has ever Snapchatted me to make plans. They would text me like normal people. And it just seems like she's trying to write something and make a reference to Snapchat to like make it seem younger without knowing if that's what young kids actually do, you know? But maybe the youth in Nantucket do use Snapchat to make plans. And maybe this is a me problem. It just personally takes me out of it when that's the kind of stuff that I'm reading about. I also did not like one of the characters, Alessandra's whole thing. I just really did not jive with it. It was very, in my 29 years of existence on this planet, I have never met a person like that. And normally her characters are like people that I can like see. And normally her characters have qualities of people that I know in real life, but I can't imagine people like that probably do exist. I don't know. I just didn't love that whole part. Good overall, but it wasn't necessarily like my favorite book that's ever been written, so I gave it 4 stars. It's a cute beach read. I think especially for like the end of summer kind of beach read, I really liked it. So the next one is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I gave this one 4 stars. As a summary, basically there is 2 young people kind of coming of age who have magical powers, right? Like they can do illusions and stuff, but like way more than a regular magician. Like very much they are doing the illusions through magic. And they are part of this like mysterious competition where their magic is being pitted against each other. But it's like very mysterious. They don't know the rules, we don't know the rules. It's like, ooh, what's going on here? And that's kind of how it's sold, right? I kind of have to disagree though, because the 2 don't really ever interact until very late into the book. The whole rules of the magic competition and everything I thought were like, not like the rules, but the outcome I thought was going to be pretty obvious, and I don't know how they didn't come to the conclusion. The book itself I thought was good. I thought that the like setting and the atmosphere and the descriptions and everything is where the book really shines, because all the descriptions of like the circus, it's set in the late 1800s, mostly in London, but like also around the world. So all of the descriptions of that type of setting are absolutely beautiful. And so many of the different like things, I feel like you're really there in the circus. Like I can picture it. I can picture the outfits, the dinners, all of this stuff that's going on. It's really beautifully described and very creative, a lot of like the things that they come up with. But the plot itself, like the marketed plot of this magical competition with like horrible stakes, was thin. It wasn't really there. Like, they weren't ever really, like, there was no real magical competition. Like, the competition was more just them. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, so I don't want to say it, but I didn't necessarily think that the plot was not why I liked this book. I liked this book for the setting, a little bit for the characters, and Finn. It was just a really long, slow circus where the characters hardly interacted. That was it. That was the really high stakes magical competition with horrible outcomes. There wasn't a whole lot of buildup of tension between the main characters. We were just supposed to buy that they were like in love, and I didn't love that either. I like when there's like buildup and you can see it happening, so then I also feel it happening, because I didn't. I was just told this is what happened now, expect this and believe it, you know? There's also a lot of really superfluous side characters, like, that I kept getting POVs from. And I love side characters and I love when they're fleshed out, but when I've constantly got to be switching between everybody's POVs and figuring out what's going on, it can get a little bit much. The end also, I did not think was a twist. I saw that coming the whole time I was reading the book, and I think that most people would. But the setting was so unique and magical, and the descriptions were magical, that I said 4 stars. I still really enjoy the book, so that's where we left it. The next book I read was Consider Me by Becca Mack. We've got another hockey romance, ladies and gentlemen. Please buckle in. This one I really enjoyed. I was ready to give it 5 stars. Like, I was hooked. I was really reading it. I ended up giving it 4 stars though. And I hope my explanation for why will make sense. Another girl, Olivia, kind of similar to Violet, to be honest. She's also not interested in dating hockey players, but her best friend is dating one of the hockey players. So for her birthday, she goes out to the bar and she meets Carter, the captain of the hockey team. Massive playboy, horrible reputation. And she's like, no, I only, will be romantically interested in somebody that I could be long-term with. I'm not interested in anything else. And he's like, give me a chance. And she's like, no. And it goes back and forth forever. That's the plot. Again, it's romance. I really liked it. I thought it was probably a touch too long. There was like a touch too much going on. Like, it could have been condensed, I think, a lot. But whatever, I'll read a long book. But I hated the female main character is the main problem. Like, she's so small. She's so small. She's 5'1" and she's so small she can't get in a truck. She's so small that it's all anybody can ever say, and they call her Pipsqueak, and she's so small, and don't you know she's so small, and she's so weirdly insecure too. She's like, I know what I'm worth, except also how could he ever be into me, and why would he ever be into me, and blah, blah, blah. And girl, she's 5'1", so she's not even like that small, right? I'm 5'3" on a good day. Like, that's my max height. And I've been around sports people a lot, professional athletes. Not one of them has ever obsessively commented on my height. And so I think I could be another 2 inches shorter and that wouldn't change. It was just like, oh my God, this is driving me crazy. So anyway, she lost this book a star, Miss Olivia. Yes, her whole, I'm a small precious baby who doesn't deserve a man like Carter, -1 star. The next book I read was The Addis Ababa Massacre, Italy's National Shame by Ian Campbell. This one is a nonfiction book about an obviously true historical event. And I wanted to read it for context on history, the country that I live in, everything, neither here nor there. I didn't feel comfortable rating it because I don't feel like that's something you can rate. It was really heavy and really horrifically sad, so I had to take a lot of breaks to like read something else in between. So it took me a while to read, but that is nothing on like the quality of the book. It just is like, I can't read about like a massacre for so long at any point during the day, just because that's the point, right? It's really heavy and bad and sad, and I can't even imagine. It's important to read about, but I needed to take breaks in between. But anyway, I don't feel comfortable like rating it because it's so horrific. But I'm glad I read it, and it's absolutely atrocious. Oh my God, I cannot say how horrible the whole thing made me feel. Then we switch gears completely into Unwrap My Heart by Alex Falcone and Ezra Fox. I wanted a short book to satire, cheer me back up. It is a very satirical kind of mummy monster romance, high school, girl falls in love with a mummy, doesn't notice he's a mummy, it's very Twilight-esque, ignores all the signs. I thought it was pretty funny. I gave it 4 stars. I loved the tone. It's very cute and sarcastic. The plot, again, was a touch thin, but I said, but what isn't these days? And I stand by that. Then I read 22 Seconds by James Patterson. This book is a 2-star book at best. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. I have no idea what 22 Seconds has to do with the plot, even a little bit. That's just a name that they gave to the book that they thought sounded cool on shelves, I guess. What is it about? I couldn't even tell you. They banned more guns in California, and it encourages this whole like criminal drug gun to come out in even more force. And Lindsay, the main female character, is a cop, and her husband is like a contract FBI agent, and they have to deal with it. And there's a bunch of other side characters. I don't know. This is like the 22nd maybe book. Women's Murder Club book 22. It's sold as you can read this as a standalone. You cannot. I could not follow all of these characters. He just introduces characters and says their names and doesn't give any description, doesn't give any backstory, doesn't give any like, here's who this character is. So I had no idea what was going on. I'm constantly flipping back through this book to try and figure out like names to descriptions to jobs because I literally have no idea what's happening. And so there's just way too many characters. The whole book was confusing and not entertaining at all and very boring. And also there's a lot of like pro-police shooting people sentiment, which this book came out in 2022. So read The Room, A Cab, and I stand by that. Honestly, I'd probably change it to 1 star now if I was rating those books. But so maybe I will change that to 1 star. Let's put a pin in that. Let's tentatively make that a 1-star book. We're almost done, I swear. Number 204 and 205 is going to be Brutal Prince and its bonus theme by Sophie Lark. I gave these both 4 stars. The basic premise, right? Italian mafia princess. She's kind of a wild child, wild card. She ends up in a position where she is being forced to marry the Irish mafia son to combine the families and stop any further escalation of issues. And they hate each other and they're like, no, we don't want to do this. And there's another Polish, a third mafia head, the Polish one. This all takes place in Chicago, by the way, in modern times. The Polish mafia head, he's mad he's been left out of this little triangle. And he's like, I also have sons that she could have married. And they're like, that's kind of not the point of what we were doing here. She wasn't just like being sold, kind of. We had something we needed to solve here. Anyway, and so he is like antagonizing them. And meanwhile, they're like not getting along. But then, you know, enemies to lovers kind of thing, right? I enjoyed it overall. I thought overall it was pretty good. I really liked the copy that I have. The physical copy has like pictures, like not fan art, but like character art drawings. And it's got like a Spotify playlist and like QR codes for you to like easily pull up the Spotify or the Apple Music playlist. I thought that was really cool. I really liked having pictures that kind of give context to the scenes. I like knowing what the author thinks of these characters and what they look like and like how these scenes are playing out. And I really liked having like a Spotify playlist, or like anytime a song was mentioned, it was like linked so I could listen to it and kind of get the vibe of what's going on. Loved that. I wish more books would do that because that was really cool. I really enjoyed that. And I enjoyed it overall. However, there were some moments that just like took me out of general reading. Whenever something happens in a book that just like doesn't make sense and takes me out, bye-bye, star. Like the Italian words that she uses, because like she has her character like curse in Italian and stuff, aren't correct. They're not spelled correctly. They're not used. So that was like, come on. And then like the whole wedding ceremony, which happens like pretty early on in the book, and like the whole thing is like, we're both Catholics, so we should squash this beef. Why bring up the fact that they're both Catholics and can have a Catholic wedding if you're not gonna have a Catholic wedding? Like the wedding was not, I've been married in the Catholic Church. I know how it works. I know how it works in Italy and how it works in the States. What they did was not a Catholic wedding by any stretch of the imagination. So that was I was like, come on, don't tell me we're gonna do a Catholic wedding and then not do a Catholic wedding. It's definitely Googleable how a Catholic wedding works. So I don't know, take that as what you will. I took off 1 star for that, but maybe that was a little bit harsh. But no, I said I was gonna be harsh, so 4 stars. The next book I read was like a collection of Persian myths by general editor Jake Jackson. I have the whole collection of like those myths and legends books, and I'm like slowly marking my way through them. I gave it 3 stars. I thought that it was like honestly, this one was not put together in the best way. I didn't think, like, the myths themselves I thought were kind of like a bit confusing and hard to follow. A lot of like characters and stuff were just like mentioned and not like properly introduced in the myth or anything, which I don't know, it's probably the fault of whoever's editing that, right? Because obviously these myths persisted because people can follow them. But they did have like a lot of really beautiful poetry and stuff included that I thought was, I really enjoyed. So that what I could follow, I did like. And I tried really hard, but the stuff that I couldn't follow, obviously I couldn't rate as highly. And then I'm gonna wait on there's one more book I've read, This Love Hurts by Willow Winters. It's the first of this trilogy, but I'm gonna wait to discuss it until I've read the whole trilogy, I think, because I don't want to split it up because I know how I'll best think about it at the end, and it just makes more sense to talk about it then. So I will leave it there. That is, it ended up being 14 because I talked about Pucked in addition to the Pucked holiday outtake, but that is all the books that I've read thus far in October. And now we can go back to once a week recaps, and maybe the videos won't be 14 million hours long. But that's only a maybe. I can't actually guarantee that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see. Please like the video if you liked it and subscribe if you want to see more. And I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye.